Welcome to the Cornea impression, and more importantly, welcome to the People's Republic of China, more popularly known as China. Now, we've been invited by Chery for the International User Summit, where they take us through the facelifted cars that are set to arrive in the UAE within the next year. They even showcase the best of the technologies that they have to offer as a company. They take us through a factory tour where they make their cars and even let us see a crash test being demonstrated. But before we get into all of that, let me take you through one of the most beautiful road trips I've taken ever, that is through China. Chery, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, car exporter from China. Now, they've invited us for a massive 1400-kilometer road trip from Guangzhou, that is here, till Wuhu, that is Chery's headquarters in China. Now, that's the lineup that we have. All are plug-in hybrid models. This is the Arrizo 8, the sedan. This, the Tiggo 9. We've gotten our orders, so time to move.
3, 2, 1, go!
Our 1400-kilometer road trip started off with some scenic Chinese traffic. But once it cleared, we were on our way to Canton Tower, once the tallest tower in the world. The panoramic sunroof of the Chery Tiggo 9 made it easier to see the length of the tower because our resident doggo Yumi took over the window. We left Guangzhou early to get onto the lush green highways of China and made a quick pit stop at a Chinese petrol station to pick up some lunch so I could let you in on some Chinese snacks. We have started back from our brief rest stop at the petrol pump, and this is our loop. Now we are at the back of the Arrizo sedan. As you can see, it's pretty spacious. We have around 3 backpacks and still we have enough space to keep our legs. And we are 2 people here, and there is a handrest here with a lot of cup holders, with 2 cup holders, and within it is something called Chinese porridge, and that Maeve has picked up for me. She is from Chery, and I told her that I only am a vegetarian, so that's what she picked up. And we'll do sort of a food review here, where this porridge is something that the Chinese have for breakfast almost every day. But for vegetarians, if you like hazelnut, this is kind of a watery hazelnut-ish taste that it has. Not the most delicious thing, but very nutritious as per them. The other thing that I really liked was this, the sandwich cake. It's sort of a bread mixed with some cream in it. I like this a lot. I would be having this a lot. And then comes to something familiar, that is Lay's. But here, what they call it is shung peng. If I'm right, mate? Shung peng. So shung means potato and peng means pieces. So potato pieces. And because we are Indians and because we want something spicy, this was the closest I could get to something spicy. So, as I catered to my nervous Indian stomach with some spicy food, the convoy drove past twisty hairpins to make our way to our 500-kilometer mile marker, Huai Tower, a UNESCO heritage site. Built in the early 1600s, Calyx House is one of the largest, most beautifully designed and perfectly preserved ancient residential buildings in China, with around 300 rooms, home to as many families. It just has one main exit door to avoid intruders, and luxurious wouldn't be the best way to describe the living conditions about 400-500 years ago in the Calyx House, but they did it. And they had a much stronger thing, and that was unity. That is what this house is meant to represent, with these multiple layers and these very closely located rooms or homes of different families and different kinds of people. Right outside it, we had a small game to test the luggage space of the Chery Tiggo 9. Go! because I had some Russians in my team, we ended up in first place, just like the global space race. And with it, we ended day one. Quite the view, isn't it? Now we here are at day 2 of our 1400 kilometer road trip. Yesterday we went from Guangzhou to Fujian. In the middle we stopped at the Calypso House. Today we are going from Fujian to the more scenic views, or rather scenic hotspots that China has to offer. In the meanwhile, this is one of the gas stations that we have stopped in to fuel ourselves. That is the lineup, as you can see. Apparently I've been told this is one of the most smaller stations. The bigger ones are as big as a mall in China. That too for a highway gas station is just incredible. With my only food option picked up, we headed straight to our 1100 kilometer mile marker, Wuhu mountain. And let me tell you, the views here were breathtaking. And just when everything seemed to go as per Chery's plan, mid-trip update, there's a good news and the bad news. Let me tell you the bad news. So the next destination that we were supposed to go, we can't go anymore because rain has played spoil sport, and that was supposed to be Pyongyang Lake. I know I'm butchering the pronunciation, but the Chinese will have to do with that. The good news is we have found it. Right behind me is the massive service station mall that Maeve was telling us about in the morning. That service station food shops can be much bigger than the ones that I've shown you before. And she was not lying. I mean, look at this. There's a supermarket here, there are fine dine restaurants here, there are cafes here, there are shopping centers here. Amazed by China's roadside shopping mall with an attached petrol pump, we made our way to a culture show arranged by Chery by the Poyang Lake. We were made to try a hand at drinking Chinese tea, which was easy, and making sense, which wasn't as easy as it looked. For day 3, we picked up from where we left. And for the final adventure for this 1400 kilometer road trip, we are at China's largest freshwater lake, Pyong Lake. I know the pronunciation is just off the charts, but that's the deal with that. And that is the lineup we have right on the foreground of behind it. And as we made our final stride towards Wuhu, I had to let you know how the new Chery Tiggo 9 fared as a long-distance SUV. So yeah, that is the cabin of the Tiggo 9, the new Tiggo 9 plug-in hybrid. This is not the top spec model, and yet there are 3 things that I would want to show you. First is the fit and finish. You get this faux suede on the dashboard and this wood grain film, so you can actually feel the texture on the dashboard. Faux leather as well, though genuine leather on the steering wheel, and that's a very handsome looking steering wheel. Even the buttons here have quite the good looking knurled finishes. It's just fit and finish is quite appealing, quite impressive for the price of the car. This is all metal. So yeah, that was the fit and finish. Second is the technology on board. So we have 2 digital screens. One is the digital instrument cluster, other is a 10.25 infotainment system here with 2.5K resolution, and as you can see, it's pretty crisp, pretty sharp. The graphics are quite fairly well. It has all the modern requirements, that is smartphone connectivity, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It has this notification panel, so basically the features that you want at the touch of your fingers is basically right there and can be configured as and how you want. It gets a music system from Sony. It gets a wireless charging pad here, a couple of cup holders, the drive modes, and a host of safety features because it also comes with level 2 ADAS driving systems. The seat itself that I am sitting in, it also gets seat ventilation and heating functions, and this is the mid spectrum. The top spec one will also get massage seating functions, and as well as the passenger seat also gets the queen function, which is basically I can lay the passenger seat down to almost 180 degree. So it's just a very comfortable ride for the passenger to have. Now coming to the third aspect, that is the comfort and space. I am pretty spacious from my end. So I guess the people at the back, friend here from Chery called Cosmo, he's sleeping, he's over 6 feet tall, yet he has significant space at the back. So I guess has Abrar, do you have space?
Yeah, I have ample amount
Amount
of
of space.
As you can see, yeah, folding my legs and
Yeah.
sitting inside the car, so I'm pretty comfortable.
Yeah. And just to make the deal even sweeter, it also gets panoramic sunroof and about 10 airbags as standard. Pretty good, pretty impressive bit of kit in the Tiggo 9. Now, on the way to Wuhu. As we entered Chery's headquarters, we were welcomed like celebrities, with the Chery CEO himself receiving us to officially conclude the now 1700 kilometer road trip across China. Once in Wuhu, I was taken to Chery's headquarters for the 2024 Chery User Summit, where I saw robotic dogs, but more importantly, and now on to the Chery stand, which houses all the new and facelifted models that are set to arrive in the UAE by the next 1 year. So let me take you through all that is new and all that is coming from Chery to the UAE. Now, 4 models in line. You have the Tiggo 4, Tiggo 7, Tiggo 8, Tiggo 9. We'll start from the smallest because it is my wish. Now the Tiggo 4 gets an all new front end, new headlights, new rear tail lights. It even gets all new interiors with a whole new dashboard design, new 2-screen layout, sporty seats for the passengers. I sat on the sporty seats and it is quite body hugging. So new car buyers, especially the new adults, would definitely enjoy the seating experience of the Tiggo 4. And now on to the Tiggo 7, which gets an all new front end, new headlight element on here. Now before I show you the insides, just one thing that I personally liked a lot was how interesting these LED elements are for the tail lights. Look very cool. Also cool are these new seats. Again, very body hugging but has a very fabric-ish nature. Let's see if this car also gets leather seats going forward. All new dashboard with this carbon fiber kind of trim running across the width of the car. But the most interesting thing on the Tiggo 7 is this center console and this gear lever. What do you think of that? Let us know in the comments below. Looks promising, has all the tech you would want on a daily basis. Time to check out its bigger brother. That is the Tiggo 8. Now similarly here, this is a 2025 model, so gets a new tail light design. And before we enter, just let me show you the car from the side. 2 interesting things to note here. One is new door handles and new alloy wheels. But once you go inside is where things are taken to a higher level, where we basically get new layout or new color scheme for the entire interior upholstery. You have this quilted diamond pattern across the seats. You have this beige-ish color that is running across the upholstery, which I like a lot, and I think the residents of the UAE will like a lot. Wireless charging here, drive modes here. This entire center console layout has been changed from the one that is currently on sale. So, and I kind of like this design. It's just much more minimalistic, much more cleaner, much more easier to use because this has wireless charging, so you can just pick up your phone. Massive screen here, new aircon vents, digital speedometer for the driver. Also new is the steering wheel mounted buttons, which the physical buttons have been replaced with this new setup here. Looks much more cleaner and much more easier to the eye. makes the car look very premium, very luxurious. And while speaking of luxurious, one more element that I liked a lot was these new LED element pattern on the DRLs, and the entire front end is also new. So you're just getting a whole lot of new for the Tiggo 8 starting next year. And the Tiggo 9, this is the car that we've been driving around for the past 3 days. I already gave you a sit around of the interior. Nothing changes here. It's just a very luxurious, very spacious car with a lot of premium features in it. So buyers looking to buy an SUV, I think you should wait for another year, because Chery has a whole lot of stuff coming for you by the next year in the UAE. So yeah, stick around. Now, as I was about to leave the Chery stand, I stumbled across something interesting. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know, but Chery and Jaguar Land Rover have been in a partnership. So I was expecting some sort of off-road vehicle to be introduced by Chery in the near future. And I'm guessing my guesses are right, because this is a design study, a development model. It's a pickup truck, but we obviously can't see the interiors of it because it's still in development. It just looks very handsome, has all the off-road rugged characteristics you would want from an off-road specific pickup truck. First impressions, I really hope this product materializes, and I hope Chery UAE brings this kind of a product, a pickup truck from Chery, which looks as handsome as that, to the UAE, because our off-road loving crowd will definitely love it.
Next came the international conference, where Chery presented its achievements, its sales figures to stakeholders and the media, followed by an exciting tour across.
This is Chery's Super One factory, Chery's latest factory where they build their cars. Now, we can't show you everything because of obvious reasons, but Chery has agreed to show us 2 sections of the factory. One is the welding factory.
Here, sheets of metal are glued or welded together by robots. Chery's Super One factory can weld 800 cars in a day and up to 200,000 vehicles in a year.
After around 300 robots have done their work, the body comes in this final line for inspection by humans. And this is where the basic structure of, or rather the basic chassis, is ready for every Chery car. Now behind me, that was the welding workshop where we just visited. Now on the opposite side, this is the painting workshop, which we are not authorized to visit yet. But essentially what happens is, once the body is made and welded, it goes on to the paint shop, where it gets painted as per the customer's desired color, and then it gets transported from that to this building, that is the assembly building, via this bridge.
In this section, the remaining parts of the car, such as headlights, taillights, bumpers, seats, steering wheels, infotainment system, and everything else gets installed in the car. Chery workers can assemble 60 cars in an hour and 300,000 vehicles in a year, all thanks to a 4 billion yuan or $550 million investment in this facility. After seeing how Chery's cars were made,
Now it's time to test drive some of Chery's car, but guess where Chery has set up that track in? Wuhu's version of Disneyland.
the amusement park parking lot was a well-thought venue to test out Chery's urban SUVs. We were given just 2 rounds of the makeshift test track to gauge the handling, acceleration and braking of these cars. So, first impressions, the Tiggo 4 handles really well for its size and owners will enjoy the sprightly acceleration. The Tiggo 7 had a good ride, but there was a slight lag in power delivery. The Tiggo 8 was a plug-in hybrid, so owners will enjoy the instant acceleration, but the car's soft ride over bumps impressed me the most. Whereas the Tiggo 9 acceleration takes a while to pick up speed, but brakes really well and turns really well as well. I was not expecting the car of this size to turn that well. And for the final day of my trip,
We are at Chery's Crash Test Engineering Center, where basically Chery will put two Tiggo 9s to the test to check if they are deemed as safe as their 5-star ratings serve them to be. Time to see some cars get crashed.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, there are some takeaways from this crash. One, even though the entire front end is properly ruined, the good part is you can see the entire car after the front end, after the front axle, the A pillar, the B pillar, the C pillar, they all are intact. The airbags went off. So the passenger cabin, this entire passenger cabin is properly safe on both cars, which is how it should be in a car crash of around 50 kilometers per hour. 5-star safety verified. So to sum it all up, I got to show you guys the latest upcoming Chery cars in the UAE, see how they were made, experience a few of them across 1700 kilometers of China, and see how Chery cars fared if things went wrong. I take back with me a lot of learnings, a lot of memories, and give me a smile. If you enjoyed our trip to China with Chery and me, thank you for watching the Cornea impression. Do comment which was your favorite part from the trip and hit that subscribe button so we can bring you more such trips across the world.